Okay, good. Hey everybody, back once again, and this time around I'm going to be talking about My Neighbor Totoro. um, as some of you may know, Studio Ghibli has started up their Ghibli Fest for 2017, starting with My Neighbor Totoro, and me and my friend Sophia managed to, we got around to seeing a showing of the dubbed version just recently today, and now we get to talk about it. So, I figured I would do this because Hayao Miyazaki is like a very influential filmmaker, and definitely one of my favorites. And you know, I haven't seen all of the Miyazaki film or Studio Ghibli films on the big screen. I wanted to get around to seeing Princess Mononoke back in January for its 20th anniversary release, but of course I missed out on that because of classes and so forth. But luckily, I get a chance to see a lot of other Miyazaki films for Ghibli Fest, and so My Neighbor Totoro. This one was My Neighbor Totoro was one of those films where I haven't seen as much as any of the other ones, like Spirited Away, Princess Mononoke, what else? Ponyo, and basically a lot of his later work is what I'm saying. But for My Neighbor Totoro, for my first experience seeing it, not only all the way through, beginning to end, but on the big screen as well, it was a really enjoyable experience. Because, well, I think the first thing I want to say is, when it comes to traditional animated movies, seeing them on the big screen, it's fine to see them as they are usually, but sometimes when you see them on the big screen, you can notice from a film perspective, you can definitely and an animation perspective, you can definitely see little details that you may notice that makes you appreciate cell animation, like traditional cell animation. Because seeing this film on the big screen and in the front row, thank goodness there was reclining seating in the theater I went to. There were little details that I noticed, like sort of the shadow of the cell itself, like the cell casting a shadow onto the backdrop, it's placed there. I thought that was a really neat detail, noticing, and that's something you don't really notice as often when it comes to traditional animation, mostly because it's like sometimes the screen is not as big to notice or in the best quality. But yeah, seeing this film, it really does. It really is a very heartwarming story about sisters living out in the country while their mother's sick in the hospital, and then, you know, they encounter this spiritual creature that has connection with the land, and I thought that was it's familiar, and at the same time it really has a lot of influential moments, and you can definitely see why Totoro would become the mascot for Studio Ghibli. Since I saw the dubbed version of this, I was trying to figure out which dub I was seeing, the Disney one or the streamlined dub from the 90s, and I believe it was the one from the 90s, because I don't know, it's been a while since I've seen or at least heard either one, so I don't know. What else was there? The animation, it really was nice to see it on the big screen again. Not just a not just Miyazaki animation, which I haven't seen for 3 years on the big screen. Yeah, because I believe I got around to seeing The Wind Rises back in 2014. Fantastic movie. But it wasn't just that. It was the fact that I was seeing a traditional animated movie again. Because I think the last time I got to experience that was when I saw the Iron Giant for its signature edition release in theaters. Yeah. I gotta admit, I think one of the downsides I had with it was not so much with the movie, but just so far the experience with it was I had to deal with one annoying kid that me and my friend Sophia were dealing with. He sat on one side of me and just it's just another situation of just dealing with a child who the parent simply just does not care. Like he would not sit still, and at one point he was was digging into my sleeve a bit, and that just got annoying. Was talking, and not in a kind of like joking fashion where you're with friends, like meh, or that kind of jazz. No, it was just like, oh, it's gonna be the bus. Oh no, that kind. I just got kind of annoyed by that, but other than that, My Neighbor Totoro, for my first time viewing it, it's definitely a very strong film. I'm glad I got to see on the big screen, especially. So if you got time, the subtitled version's available on Monday. Is available to see in theaters on Monday. Go see it. If you love, trust me, it's definitely worth seeing if you're a fan of not just traditional animation, but especially if you're a Miyazaki, Studio Ghibli fan. So once in a lifetime, it's a very rare experience to see a Miyazaki film in the theater. So take your chances, please. Do so. Alright, so with that, I will see you guys next time.